Hello there and welcome to this week's casual educational video that is all about the different classes of share. Now normally I get two types of questions. The first one is where can I find all of this information, and the second one is why do you apply a discount for lack of control? And I want to touch upon both of those, and I want to start first with where can you find the different classes of share. As an example, I have the annual report of Meta, but you can use any annual report or quarterly report of a public company and get to this point. Now, on the first page or the second, so most of the times it's the first, there will be a section, a short paragraph where it mentions that, for example, for Meta, on January 27th, there were 2.2 billion shares of Class A and 366 million of Class B. So on the first page, you should see, or the second again, you should see the number of shares, but also the different classes. And the fact that there are different classes, it means that something differs about them. And I'm going to jump back and forth to a couple of pages. I want to first take a look at the dual class structure. And this is what is mentioned in the annual report of Meta. The dual class structure of our common stock and a voting agreement between certain stockholders have the effect of concentrating voting control with our CEO and certain other holders of our Class B common stock. This will limit or preclude your ability to influence corporate matters. Then it continues to mention that our Class B common stock has 10 votes per share and Class A has only 1 vote per share. So this is the main difference. And for Meta, this is the case. For other companies, it could be completely different. It could be that there are 5 voting votes per share of Class B. It could be they have Class A, B, C, and D. It could be that they're same voting rights. But for example, there's change in their dividend. That could also be. So there is no really rule for this. For every company it differs. There are not that many companies with more than one class. Like most of them have, at least the ones that I've looked into, have one class. But this is something that you need to keep in mind. So why is this? Why is this relevant, right? Why should we look into this? I'm going to go back to page 37, and this is part of the risk section of Meta's annual report. Our CEO has control over key decision making as a result of his control of a majority of the voting power of our outstanding capital stock. So by owning more of the Class B common stock, basically it allows him to have this influence over the important decisions. And down here, what it mentions is, as a board member and officer, Mr. Zuckerberg owes a fiduciary duty to our stockholders and must act in good faith in a matter he reasonably believes to be in the best interest of our stockholders. But then, as a stockholder, even a controlling stockholder, Zuckerberg is entitled to vote his shares and shares over which he has voting control as governed by a voting agreement in his own interest, which may not always be in the interest of our stockholders generally. Now, this is a risk if you believe that the decisions of Zuckerberg are not going to benefit the existing shareholders. On the other side, if you believe that he's a visionary and that his decisions are going to be just amazing, then you don't have to apply such a discount for this control. And it is called a discount for lack of control because you, as a minority shareholder, or anyone who has, even, it doesn't matter how much money you have, unless you buy his voting, his shares that have the majority voting rights, you cannot influence the decisions made by the company. So all the shares that are out there are ones that have they have lack of control. And for public companies, it is common to apply premium anywhere from 5 to, I'd say, 25, 30%. I've seen that very often. But for private companies, this discount is much larger, especially because, again, the person who's on the other side can make decisions that are in their best interest. I think that I'll keep this video short. I think these are the key information to cover on this. And whether you use this to make decisions or to value companies, and that's of course up to you. and also whether you apply a discount for lack of control or not. Maybe at some point you think that this control is can be seen as an asset, but if somebody is really visionary and has really good intentions, but that of course will reflect in the future cash flows and your estimates about the future. So make sure not to double count on one side. If you have if you see this as an asset, as something valuable for the company, that should reflect in the future cash flows. And if you add a percentage on top of that, that is double counting. But on the other side, I think in maybe 90 out of or maybe 95 out of 100 times, it would be more wisely to have to demand a discount for the lack of control, because you never know what that person is up to, or a couple of individuals. It doesn't have to be one person, it could be a couple of family members as well. That would be all regarding this video. Thank you for following it until the very end, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.